not a victim as a result of his death at the hands of this defendant, I would object to her motion. I would ask the court to allow Mr. Lewis to testify.
Thank you, Your Honor. Judge, the subsection continues to say a person who has suffered physical, psychological, or economic harm as a direct result of the commission of a felony at this point in time, and it goes into to list a number of other crimes that rise to the level of a misdemeanor, and it also goes on to indicate the other people that may testify. I don't know how the spokesperson for the family is.
He's a relative, isn't it?
Judge, I'm not sure of his.
First cousin.
Ma'am, don't do that. Ms. Lorenz, he's not a relative.
Excuse me. Your Honor, I just indicated that he is a cousin.
I thought that's what you said. You have a response to that?
Judge,
You're your same position?
yes, Judge.
All right. Yeah. Motion amendment. Anything else?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Bring the jury up, please. Members of the jury, while we're waiting on the clerk to bring out the evidence, this is a bifurcated trial. In Virginia, if it's a felony, then we proceed with the jury, then it's a bifurcated trial. That means it's divided into two phases, two stages. The first phase is the guilt or innocence of the accused. We have completed that phase. We did find the defendant guilty of manslaughter. The second phase deals with we call the penitent phase, the punishment. And we're about to start this particular phase now. Come on, Master. Take your time. Whose phone is that? What's it called? From the speaker? Come from the speaker? medical structures. Towards the jury. Okay, who's going first? Yes. First, second. All right, call the case again, Madam Clerk.
Sir, Commonwealth of Virginia versus Stephen Rankin. Is the Commonwealth ready?
Commonwealth ready.
Is the defense ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed, Madam Commonwealth.
Madam Commonwealth, we call Earl Lewis.
Solemnly swear or affirm testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Yes, sir. May I inquire, Your Honor?
Captain Peter.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
All right. Would you please state your full name?
My name is Earl Lewis, Jr.
And Mr. Lewis, did you know someone affectionately called Lil William?
Yes, I did.
And who was Little William?
He was like my second cousin.
And was that William Lester Chapman II?
Yes, sir.
And how did you come to know him?
Well, I came to know him by coming back to Portsmouth, Virginia. I was originally actually in Hawaii, and I came back to my family house back in '97. And I took over my family back in '97. I was in school every other day with the younger kids. So William was one of the kids that was in his big family of 30-some people. So he basically played around my grandmother's house, which was actually in Parkview, and he would actually come over and visit us as well.
And this big family of 30-something people, did you, the family members, celebrate Thanksgiving?
Well, yes, we celebrated Thanksgiving, Christmas, and of course 4th of July.
And did,
Yes, sir.
and did Little William participate in that and attend?
Yes, sir.
And obviously he won't be able to do that anymore.
No, he won't be able to do that anymore. Grandmama's house was a house that everybody came to. And so when I came back, I realized that I couldn't change the paradigm of the family because it was grandmama's house. I couldn't make nobody go home because it was grandmama's house. So everybody would show up, and I had to touch every kid one by one and to try to give them some direction. And William was just one of the kids. And I was the male, I would say, the strongest male in my family. After spending 13 years in the United States Army, and another 20 years as a firefighter, and coming back home, I took over my family. And if there was a kid going to school having a problem, like in Parkview, I showed up and to help. Come on.
You mentioned school. Was William attending school, or did he have plans to attend school?
Actually, right, William came back in the area. He was actually going to the library every day to prepare to take his GED or try to get a high school diploma. Now, along with that, he was going to the library to go into the military as well. And one of the things that, if I don't know nothing else, I was William Chapman. I was William Chapman. I was 17 years old when I first started. And believe it or not, I went to the library twice. The first time I went to the library to take, help me study for the test to go into the military, I was going into the Navy. The second time I went, I passed the test. And then saying that, it became very special to me that William took an interest of, what I wanted to do, wanted him going to the military. So we had basically found 2 jobs for William. My sister did. So when all this happened, it was kind of, wow. So we already had a way, because whenever a male figure is in my family, I make sure if I can get close enough to him to guide him. And right now, for 18 years, I've guided my family. And that's being real. Yes, sir.
Now, at the time he was killed, William was 18, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did he have a chance to father any children?
No, sir.
So he won't be able to do that?
No, definitely won't be able to do that, sir.
And how has the loss of William affected you?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna go here with it, if I may. As a professional myself, who basically grew up pretty much in the military. I'm in the military when I was 18 years old. I went straight to Germany. So I always just stayed in the military side of the house. William was going to be Earl Lewis. William was a cousin that looked like me. So if you want to think of a 58-year-old William, okay, it was actually William Chapman. And the goal was to groom him to be the one to the military. And how it affected me was this way. As a professional man who carries a firearm myself, I had to make a decision what happened and how I would handle that situation.
Judge, I'm objecting to the time of testing.
All right. Let's get back to William.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
the question was basically, and I think you told us that how William's loss has affected you. Have you had a chance to gather the effect from your observations this has had on other family members?
Yes.
And could you tell us something about that?
From April the 23rd, 2015, Sally Chapman. The first word that was out of her mouth was that, as a mother, I suppose my son's supposed to bury me. That was very hard, very painful. From there, I next step, because I focused on the family from this point. When we had to find money to bury William, there was no money. Nobody gave us no money other than the community of Portsmouth. The people of Portsmouth donated money to help us bury William. So that was a financial situation we had to deal with. Along with that, make a decision when you have no money. What do you do with William Chapman? Do you cremate him or do you bury him? Guess what? I'm looking at his mother and we're trying to make a decision at the funeral home. Do we cremate him because we have no money or do we bury him? And she just looked at me and she said, Earl, okay, we can cremate him. So we went through the motion. And one day she looked at me, she said, I can't do this. I can't cremate my son because I want my kids to go back and be able to see my son. And with that being said, it was like, how do I tell this lady, baby, we don't have the money for this? So I'm like, I couldn't tell her to bury her son. But because I'm the oldest male in the family, when my grandmother died, I took over, and I knew I had to find out a way. So I went in community, and I just said, I don't know how, and they donated. And when the time he said senator, I did it so much within the community. When I walked in and told about William Chapman, Senator Lucas stroked me and checked $5,000. And I'm like, wow, nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared.
You want to take a break?
I'm all right, I got it. But nobody cared. But the people of Portsmouth and Senator Lucas that stood up. Because I just could not tell my cousin, right, that there was no way. And my faith in God, I pushed through it, you know. But from day one, I have been here. And I have not looked away. I have not went away. But it hurt. It hurt me, along with hurting her. And with that being said, you know, when it came down to the funeral, the funeral, talking to people, and knowing that she had made a decision that she didn't want to cremate her son. So now we had a dilemma. I got to figure this out. And we didn't bury William until May. Till May. This what happened. So that being said, we had money for a preacher. I was a preacher. I prayed over my son, over my cousin's grave. Okay? And I brought my family together. I kept them tight. Because Sally couldn't do it. And we never expected that. You know? And with that being said, pretty much with Sally Chapman family, my finances kept them aboard for a year.
Now,
Yes, sir.
during the course of the trial, we heard from one of his siblings as part of the testimony. Did he have any other siblings?
Yes.
And who were they?
He has Flome. He has another sister who actually married with his older sister. And she actually went into the military during the same time before William got killed. And she couldn't stay. She basically got very paranoid with guns. So she basically got out of the military.
And that was as a result of William's death, being killed?
So, yes. And then you had the youngest daughter who basically had a baby, and that was like William's favorite. And she'd been torn. I mean, totally just torn, just every day. And sometimes I just watch when they text. And I watch them on Facebook, because I had to say, calm down, because they were very emotional, and they're young, Along with that, of course, he has an uncle that's down in Atlanta, and we've been, talking back and forth when he came down here, and they was close also. So it has basically affected living, and I had to sit around and think about that. We was also connected to, like the Brown family. We were connected to the Lewis family. And that day in church, it was over 100-some people there. That this is actually affecting the community, because in Portsmouth, we all connected. And when I realized how many families we was actually connected to, it really touched my heart, because I'm like, wow, that many people. It was over 100-some people that we were cousins, because we all different, different ways, different forms.
And finally, is there anything you'd like to tell the court, the jury, as to, in one last statement, how this has affected you?
Me, as a veteran, it broke my heart. The reason it broke my heart, because if I'm willing to die for my country, and I left Portsmouth, I left here, willing to go to the military and die for my country, and somebody can shoot somebody on my watch, that broke my heart. When he was shot in the head, that broke my heart. He shot him in the heart, that broke my heart. And also, as a professional who carries a firearm license, this is not the standard of conduct that I mean, that broke my heart.
Thank you. That's it.
All right. You have a question?
Yes, sir.
You may step down, sir.
Thank you.
More questions?
Yes, sir.
More questions?
Judge, if we could call outside to see if Officer Sylvia is here.
Someone swear or affirm testimony to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Good afternoon, sir. I know you've testified before this jury a few days ago, but if you could introduce yourself again.
Officer Sylvia, Portsmouth Police Department, Uniform Patrol.
And Officer Sylvia, do you know Stephen Rankin?
Yes, I do.
How do you know him?
He's my friend.
How long have you been with the Portsmouth Police Department?
3 years.
Is that when you first met
Yes.
Stephen Rankin?
I met, actually, after I got hired, he worked for the department, and I saw him when I was recruited.
If you could speak up just a little bit louder so the jury can hear you. Tell the court, if you would, how you interacted with him in your professional career as a Portsmouth police officer and your observations of him.
Okay. He taught us with in reference to traffic division information about toe slips and how to do those things. He's a funny guy. I really like him. He's an affable person. He's not an aggressive individual by any means. As far as work-related things go, after I got out of the academy, he's somebody I looked up to on the street as a mentor, somebody that could solve all my problems with his experience on how to de-escalate situations and find a better solution than taking somebody to jail in frequent amount of times.
So did you go to him for advice?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of reputation did he have within the department?
A great individual, somebody who knows a lot of answers to all your problems, a very professional individual as far as policing is concerned, as well as a normal person.
Based on your meeting him in the department, did you all also form a relationship outside of the department?
Yes, we did.
And tell the jury about that.
He was master of ceremony at my wife and I's wedding. We'd hang out after work or anything in reference to that. Just go out and eat, play video games and things like that.
So this was someone that you spent time with in the department and both outside of work.
Correct.
And why did you choose to spend time with him outside of work?
He understands the job a lot more than other officers are more verbal about. He knows the ins and outs of everything. He has experience from his time on the department, and he was able to relate more to me. I don't know, based on his experiences, he'd have great answers for me, and he's just a great individual, a trustworthy guy, and I trust him with my life.
Whenever you went to him for guidance, advice, anything of that nature, did you ever question what he was telling you or doubt the information he was giving you?
No.
And under the circumstances as we are here today, does that change your feelings or opinions?
No, it's not.
Thank you, Officer Sutton. Please answer any questions.
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Officer Ledbetter?
Swear or affirm testimony you give in this case to be the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you tell us your name and spell your last name, please?
Officer A. Ledbetter, Ledbetter.
And obviously you're employed as a Portsmouth police officer, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you been a police officer?
Since May 2013.
And is there any particular unit or division that you're assigned to?
3rd Platoon.
Do you know Stephen Rankin?
Yes, I do. Gentleman sitting in the suit there.
And how do you know Stephen?
He trained my class during the Post Academy in November 13, and then I joined his platoon April 2014.
So you actually worked with him?
Yes.
You worked with him in the field and on the streets?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell the jury something about him as an officer?
He's a knowledgeable officer. He trained my class with DUI investigation and traffic stops. He's backed me up on plenty of calls, and his demeanor has always been professional.
Does other officers in the department share that reputation or opinion of him as well?
Yes, he did.
And you understand why we're here today?
Yes.
And does that change your opinion in any way?
No, it doesn't.
How many calls would you say you've been out on it with him?
least 25 plus.
Have any of those calls, in your opinion, resulted in any sort of aggressive or over-the-top behavior?
No, it wasn't.
In the work that you've done with him, have you found him to be professional
Yes,
and reputable
yes,
and trustworthy?
yes.
All right, please answer any questions the Court of Counsel may have. Officer Ledbetter, you are now aware of the verdict the jury just came back with?
Yes, I am.
And you understand this is not a DUI situation?
I understand, sir.
And you understand this is not a traffic stop investigation?
I understand.
And you weren't there the day that he, on April 22nd, 2015, when he pulled his weapon out, is that correct?
No, I was not.
And you wasn't there when he shot and killed that young man, were you?
No, I was not.
Nothing further.
Nothing further. No, Your Honor. You make that bow.
Mr. Rankin. All right, Stephen, you understand why we're here today?
Yes, I do.
And you understand the phase of the case that we're at, correct?
I do.
Tell the jury how old you are.
I'm 36 years old.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California.
And mom, dad, brothers, sisters?
I lived with my mother. I was an only child.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
No, I was an only child, sir.
What brought you to Portsmouth?
When I completed my time in the military, I served in the Navy.
Tell us about that. When did you enlist?
I enlisted in 2002, kind of as a result of September 11th. A lot of my family had served in the military, and I felt I needed to do something for my country.
So you enlisted and did what? I think you've talked before about getting involved in the military police.
I was in the Navy as a Master at Arms, which is the Navy term for military police.
How long did you serve?
I was in for 5 years.
And what type of discharge did you receive?
An honorable discharge.
And during the course of that service, were you ever overseas?
I was deployed twice overseas.
And where were you deployed to?
The first time we operated out of Kuwait, doing various things around the area of Kuwait. The second time we operated out of Spain, again going to several different countries out of Spain.
So when you were honorably discharged from the service, what brought you into the police department?
I wanted to get out of the military, but I wanted to continue to serve the people around me.
Did you know anybody in Portsmouth?
No, I didn't know anyone.
What brought you to this city?
When I was shopping around various agencies to want to work for at the time, I had actually read Portsmouth had the worst equipment but the best morale, and I wanted to work with a group of really good people. And I'll say that at my time in the police department, I worked with some of the finest human beings that I've ever met in my life.
You just heard from Officer Sylvia and Officer Ledbetter?
I did.
Friends of yours?
There.
Men that you worked with?
Yes, sir.
Today, are you married?
I am.
Is your wife in the courtroom today?
She is.
And how long have the two of you been married?
We've been married a little over a year.
After this incident, you're no longer with the police department.
That's correct.
Do you have any children? Do you have a child?
I do.
And how old is your child?
She's 13 years old.
And that's from a previous marriage?
That's correct.
And what type of relationship do you have with her?
My daughter and I, being a teenager, she likes to communicate through text message, and we text pretty much every day. We have a very good relationship. We love spending time together. She's an awesome kid. She never gets in trouble. She's just happy all the time.
Are you obligated to pay support?
I am.
And are you current on that support?
Yes.
At the moment, are you working?
No, I'm using my GI Bill going to college.
And what do you want to do with the balance of your life?
I'm looking to go into mechanical engineering. Actually, my grandfather was a mechanical engineer at TRW and worked on the space program.
And you understand that you've been convicted of voluntary manslaughter?
I do.
Is there anything that you want to say to the Chapman family?
Yes, and actually I've wanted to say this for some time. Unfortunately, the opportunity didn't present itself. I think this is a terrible tragedy. I wish it never happened. I wish none of this had ever occurred. can't begin to fathom how much pain that family's going through after losing a loved one. I wish I could have done more than I did to try and keep him alive. I did everything that I could, and I wish that none of this had ever happened.
All right, please answer your questions, Court of Counsel. Mr. Rankin, you realize you caused this to happen. You're the one that shot him, right? Didn't you?
Well, I think everything's been put on the table here, sir.
Didn't you shoot him?
I was the one that shot him, so I guess.
Okay. And you say you've been married a little over a year. Is that correct? So after you killed Mr. Chapman, you got married?
A couple months after the incident, yes, sir.
And you've also indicated you have a child.
Yes, sir.
You realize because of you, William Chapman will never have a child?
I really wish this had never happened, sir. I wish he was able to be here to speak to us today.
Do you realize because of you, the Chapman family will never have his presence at another Christmas?
I have felt terrible for all the tragedy in the Chapman family.
And because of you, they'll never have his presence at another Thanksgiving? No, nothing further. That's enough.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
You may step down, sir.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, members of the jury, we have two additional instructions. Instruction number 21 reads, you have found the defendant guilty of the crime of voluntary manslaughter. Upon consideration of all the evidence herein, you shall fix the defendant's punishment at, number 1, a specific term of imprisonment, but not less than 1 year or more than 10 years. Or number 2, confinement in jail for a specific time, but not more than 12 months. Or number 3, a fine of a specific amount, but not more than $2,500. Or number 4, confinement in jail for a specific time, but not more than 12 months, and a fine of a specific amount, but not more than $2,500. Instruction number 22, any person sentenced to a term of incarceration for a felony offense shall not be eligible for parole upon that sentence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Commissioner Mubalawa. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you for your verdict of voluntary manslaughter and for holding this defendant responsible for the death of William Chapman. I want to say to you that this defendant should get every second and every minute of the 10 years that you are able to give him. Mr. Lewis testified that Ms. Chapman said, as a mother, my child should bury me. Not another Thanksgiving, not another 4th of July, not another Christmas. Will this family have the benefit of having William Chapman present with them? This mother will never get to see her son's children grow up because he didn't have the opportunity to have it. But this man had the opportunity to get married months after he killed William Chapman. You heard his co-workers talk about him. They described him as a funny guy, professional, known to de-escalate, not aggressive, knowledgeable. But he did not extend any of those courtesies to William. He said to him, I assume you know why I'm here, and because of that, this young man probably died not knowing why he approached him the way he did. None of those courtesies did he extend. You heard Mr. Lewis testify about what William wanted to be. William wanted to be like him. He went in the military. You heard Mr. Lewis testify that William was going to the library. William wanted to get his GED. William wanted to go into the military so he could serve his country like him, like he had the opportunity to do. Because he killed Mr. Chapman, this country may now have lost a future serviceman. William Chapman was 18 years old. No children. No opportunity to get married. No opportunity to serve his country. No opportunity to see his mother grow old. His siblings no longer have their brother. This community has lost a son. And I ask you to give this man every bit of that 10 years for killing Mr. Chapman. And the last thing I want to say to you is he got up here and he said he wanted to tell his family he was sorry, but when Mr. Williams asked him and wanted to examine him and get him to acknowledge that Mr. Chapman died because he shot him, he still would not answer in the affirmative. He still would not be straightforward and admit that he's the person who shot William and killed him. He wants to just keep saying, I wish this never happened, as if he didn't do it. And because of that, and because of the fact that William would never get to do a lot of the things that many of us have been able to do, have children, get a career, see our parents grow old, let our children see us have families, let our parents see us have children. None of these things will he be able to do because this man killed him. And though he wants to apologize, he still has not taken responsibility. Please give him the 10 years that he deserves. Thank you.
Please, the court. You found him guilty of the offense of voluntary manslaughter. By that verdict, you have determined that the elements of the offense of voluntary manslaughter are that is, it was killing, it was intentional, and it was the sudden heat of passion and mutual harm. That's the verdict that you have rendered based upon the evidence. What we're doing now is a separate situation, a separate aspect of the case altogether. Your determination today and now should be what punishment based upon the instructions that the court has given to you is appropriate under the facts and the circumstances of the case, considering also the history and the characteristics of Stephen Rankin. The General Assembly has given you a significant range of punishment. And they have vested in you, they have given to you the discretion to determine a sentence within that range of punishment. And the reason the General Assembly has given you that range of punishment is obviously there are different defendants that appear in front of you. There are different facts and circumstances about a case that appear in front of you. There's different conduct of the parties that have caused the event that appear in front of you. And so the legislature has said there is a range which goes all the way from 0, fine, the jail term, all the way up to 10 years in the penitentiary. The Commonwealth has asked you to impose the maximum sentence in the state. The maximum sentence on a defendant that obviously has no prior criminal record. A maximum sentence upon a defendant that has, from a history and characteristic standpoint, lived an exemplary, professional, responsible, civic-minded life all of his life, and all of the evidence that's before you. His military career, civic career in the Portsmouth Police Department, fellow officers that came here to testify for him today. Those officers came here today knowing that he has been convicted of this offense, knowing the facts and circumstances about the offense. Yet both of them have came before you today to talk about his reputation, his demeanor, his attitude, his life. The council has said Mr. Rankin had opportunities that Mr. Chapman didn't have. And I'm not going to go back over the case again because you have found the elements of the offense to be sufficient. But you cannot, under any stretch of the imagination, forget the circumstances about this case. You cannot, under the stretch of any imagination, forget the conduct that was involved in this case by both parties. That has to factor into your sentencing decision. Because as I told you during the course of the trial, choices were there. Choices were available. Choices were made. And as a result of those choices, you're here today. And so you cannot forget the conduct that you saw in those videos as to what led to this event. You found him guilty, but that is a separate issue from with respect to what the sentence should be imposed upon. You can't forget who he was and what he was trying to do and how this situation escalated when you determine what the appropriate sentence may be. Your sentence can be from 1 year to 10 years in the penitentiary. Your sentence can be jail up to 12 months. Your sentence can be a fine of up to $2,500. Your sentence can be a combination of up to 12 months in jail and a fine of $2,500. And I ask you in all sincerity not to incarcerate them, not to recommend any period of incarceration for you. Your verdict and finding of guilt with respect to voluntary manslaughter has significant and lasting consequences. It also sends a message to the community that we will not condone that behavior. That if you're an officer and you act with excessive force, you will be found guilty of an offense. And you will suffer the consequences for that offense. The consequences of being a convicted felon. The consequences of losing your job as a police officer. All of the things that follow from the convictions of a felon, which he is now for the rest of his life. Does there have to be more? If you put him in jail for 10 years, does that bring Mr. Chapman back to his family? If you put him in jail for 12 months, does that bring Mr. Chapman back to his family? It doesn't. And that's a shame. It's a tragedy. And Mr. Rankin has admitted that from the witness stand. He has admitted that he has shot and killed William Chapman. The issues that preceded that, you've all heard, and I'm not going to go back to all that. But I ask to incarcerate him serves no purpose. Your verdict has spoken loudly, your verdict has spoken clearly, and your verdict is a significant and long-lasting punishment and message to all about how you feel about this conduct. I respectfully, sincerely, and honestly ask you. There's no need to incarcerate him based on these facts and these evidence. You can impose a fine, you can send a message, and you can tell everybody in this community and every police officer through your verdict of finding a voluntary manslaughter how you feel about this.
Thank you, sir. William Chapman's life was worth more than a fine. William Chapman's life was worth more than a year. William Chapman's life was worth more than 10 years. And I wish I could ask you for more. This man took his life. His life is gone. 10 years is not too much to ask for the life of William Chapman. 10 years that he can get out and he can father more children if he wants to. 10 years he can get out and he can go back to college and do whatever it is he was talking about that he wants to do. But William Chapman cannot do anything because he is not here. His life mattered. William Chapman's life mattered to this community, to his family, and I would ask you to search your conscience and think about whether his life was worth giving this man 10 years. And I would argue to you, and I would ask you to find that it is. I would ask you to give him every second and every minute and every day of that 10 years. Thank you.
All right, counsel, y'all, please. All right, members of the jury, it is now time for you to return back to the jury room to deliberate and arrive at a verdict with respect to what punishment shall be. The former shall remain the same, and whatever you come up with, it must be unanimous. If you have any questions during the course of your deliberation, please indicate by ringing the buzzer. And also, I have one form for you. After you have deliberated and discussed this particular matter with respect to what punishment should be, the form of the verdict, we, the jury, after having found the defendant guilty of voluntary manslaughter, fix his punishment at, and follow the instructions which I did give to you as to what the range of punishment is. Please ensure that your form is signed and date this particular form, and ring the buzzer when you have it ready, and it must be unanimous. You may return. Don't worry about that. She'll bring it back. Proceed later.
Judge, would we be able to proceed later with the court's permission, please? All rise. Proceed, please.